Welcome to Direction Northeast. Hello, I'm your host, Anthony Frazier. This program is a presentation of the Mass Communications Department for Northeast State Community College, and is produced by the students through the college's video production facilities. This series of programs is designed to bring you the students' perspective on events and happenings throughout Northeast Tennessee. The program is a laboratory learning process for students in broadcasting and advertising public relations part of the mass communications area. Hollywood legend Lon Chaney was called the man of 1,000 faces because his ability to successfully change or alter the appearance in order to play a great deal of different characters. Today's guest, film makeup artist Tom Savini, talks about his life and career in the movies.
I've had a great experience at Northeast State. It has a lot to do with my teachers. They really set you up to succeed.
The cardiovascular technology program is one of 23 accredited programs in the United States. We have standards that are higher than other programs that we must meet.
With a new building and bigger facilities, it will enhance every student's experience.
The Regional Center for Health Professions, located in the new Kingsport Academic Village, houses all Northeast State's health-related programs. Northeast State, we're here to get you there.
Our guest on this episode has made quite a career for himself in film. Tom Savini has worked as an actor, stuntman, and director, and an award-winning special effects and makeup artist. His credits include the Living Dead films directed by George A. Romero, as well as Creepshow, The Burning, Friday the 13th, The Prowler, and Maniac. Mr. Savini, welcome to the show.
Hi. I'm so glad you began this with talking about Lon Chaney, because I have, my son's name is Lon. I named him after Lon Chaney.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And he just had a baby girl and named her Chaney. So there's a Chaney Savini in the world. I'm just hoping people don't think it's because of Dick Cheney, okay? So there's a Chaney Savini. You can imagine what the conversation is going to be like when she's 12 years old.
Seriously.
You know, her father's name is Lon, her grandfather is Tom Savini, you know, makeup artist. So we'll see what happens.
Now, I understand you're licensed to buy explosives. How cool is that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, it's very easy to get a license in Pennsylvania. It's one of the easiest states. You pay a fee and you get it.
Now, what exactly do you use explosive for in
Well,
makeup?
for squib hits, or blowing up cars, or blowing doors off a door frame or something. But mainly for professional squibs. You can buy those. I get emails from kids. Hey, I'm doing a zombie movie and I'm doing some bullet hits, and I'm putting M80s on. I said, I don't. My God, don't, because they explode wherever they want to. Professional squibs blow away from the body, and that's why you have to have a license to get them.
I see. Yeah. Now, I may spoil this for some people, but I was watching a previous interview that you had done at a recent film festival, and you mentioned that you're remaking a film that I saw. That was the first zombie film I ever saw at 13, and it's called Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Right. Is this true, or you?
Well, it's as true as far as, you know how the movie business goes. They're out there talking about hooking George and I up together again. I haven't worked on a Romero film since he moved to Canada. But the package of Romero and Savini together again, with George directing and me doing the effects. I'm looking forward to it if it happens, because there's only so much you can do to make a zombie scary anymore. There's only so much you can do to the face or the hands or the clothing. Zack Snyder made them run in the remake of Dawn of the Dead. But you can't blame him, because there's only so much you can do to make it. I was afraid that Zombieland would kill zombies forever, but no, they were still scary, they were still good. But if I do Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, these are zombies that come out of the grave, okay? So I don't want to just put zombie makeup on actors. It would incorporate makeup and CGI. Like if I were making you up as a zombie and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, there'd be green patches on you that would disappear, and so I could see through your head or see through your chest. Because if you're coming out of a grave, you would have been rotting for a while. Right. So that might be the new wave of zombies, as far as I'm concerned. But Greg Nicotero of K&B just did some wonderful zombies for the new series coming on AMC called The Walking Dead. Have you heard about this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. These are the best zombies I've ever seen. Greg was my protege for a lot of.
Okay. Well, that's understandable then, huh?
Yeah.
A little pat on the back for yourself.
Well, for Greg, actually, too.
Yeah. Now, sticking with the Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, that movie took place on an island. Do you plan on doing the same thing?
Did
or
it?
are you going to do? Yeah, it was actually on an island.
I'm
yeah.
sorry to hear that.
It was a.
No, because I've got a zombie flick called Death Island.
Ah.
You know, well, maybe I'll do what I plan to do on. You know what? Whatever movie gets made first, that's the one that gets the ideas. You know, you've got to jump on whatever is at hand. You know.
So is the remake still in the ideal stage then? Or?
Yeah, it's a guy. It's Fangoria Magazine. The owner of that he's gotten some financing to make some movies, and that was one of the first things he approached George and I at a convention in Las Vegas, and pitched the idea, and we're both crazy about it. You know, love to do it. It would be the first time that George did a movie he didn't write. You know, so, yeah. Except for Monkey Shines, he didn't write Monkey Shines either.
Okay. Now you and Romero have worked together previously.
I think we've done 9 films.
9
together.
films. Now was he your start? Was he the one that gave you your start?
No,
in the business?
Bob Clark.
Bob Clark.
Bob Clark. My first film was right after they made Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. I did Death Dream for them in Florida. Then we went right to Canada and did Deranged. You know, Bob Clark is the guy, you know, Porky's, Murder by Decree, Christmas Story, the classic Christmas movie. Just died recently in a car accident in Hollywood. But yeah, no, Bob Clark was my friend. And then I didn't do anything for 7 years, and then I hooked up with Romero on Martin. I wanted to play the vampire in that. I went down to audition for the vampire, but it was already cast. So I had my portfolio, and I showed him. I was following him around the office, showing him pictures. He was so busy. He said, yeah, we can use you on this. So I wound up doing the effects, doing the stunts, and playing a part. You know, the more you do, the more you get to do. You know, in Hollywood. You know, I have a makeup school in Pittsburgh, in Pennsylvania, and that's the first sentence in my first book that I wrote is the more you do, the more you get to do. So the more you're good at, the more chance you have of using that to take advantage of an opportunity that might come your way in working in the movies. You know.
Yeah, we speak of that in here. You know, in smaller markets, you want to have an ability to do a lot of different things on a set. And, you know, where you get into the bigger markets, you've got an electrician who's on union and he does this, and you're not allowed to touch it.
Exactly.
But you're saying that it is a strong advice to try to do. A lot of
you know,
different
when I
facets.
grew up, my dad could do anything. My dad was a carpenter, a bricklayer, electrician, a shoemaker. So I grew up thinking you're supposed to do many things well, okay? But versatility is frowned on in today's society. They think if you do one thing well, there's no way you can do something else well. Well, that's false in my case, and I think it's false as far as teaching somebody that. You know, the more you do, the more things you're good at, the more chance you have of using one of those to get in the door. The point is to get in the door. There's no formula for success, but get in the door, sweep floors for a year, do fiberglass for a year or something as far as makeup goes. And if you're likable and you're good at it, you will escalate. You know.
Now let's talk about special effects makeup and where it's come from and where it's gone and where it's going.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't do it
What type of
anymore.
materials did they use? You know, back in the 60s
Oh my God,
and
are you
70s?
kidding? When you were talking about Lon Chaney, he was using. They used this horrible chemical called collodion back then to build up Frankenstein's brow, to do the cheekbones on the Phantom of the Opera. And I was putting a scar on a friend of mine, holding the bottle like this, putting a scar on him, and he fell down and went into convulsions. Oh. And that's when I learned that collodion is 25% ether. So I anesthetized them right on the spot, you know. But it was a horrible chemical, and it dries into a plastic. And that's what cotton and collodion. Then of course mortician's wax came in, and then John Chambers, who was, he was doing reconstructive makeup on Korean War veterans who were disfigured in the war, and he wound up doing the makeup on Planet of the Apes, creating that makeup. So that's foam latex that came to be, and now it's mostly silicone and gelatin and something that's more translucent. You know, on Dawn of the Dead, I was gluing sewing buttons to somebody's head and pulling it off through wax to make a hole appear for a bullet hit. Like now it's a very sophisticated plastic appliance. It's very thin and imperceptible to the eye. And you know, you can put passages in it for blood or air to pop out the hole, blood to make it bleed, you know. And that's how we do bullet hits.
So they're not
now.
actually using a squib then anymore. It's
No, but they did use squibs on the actors in Heaven's Gate, the Michael Cimino film. And those were cast from the actor's face. So when the metal squib was created, it fit perfectly, and there was no concussion from it, and it blew through appliances. But no, today it's mostly CGI when they do that.
Now, how do you feel, as a special effects makeup artist, how do you feel that high def is going to affect it's making you be more meticulous?
Absolutely. Like lace wigs used to have about an inch of lace that the hair was ventilated in. Now it's very, very short because you can see it in high def. And we don't put a lot of makeup on anybody anymore. It's mostly just powder, colored powders, a beard shadow, but very little makeup. Because watch when Conan O'Brien was on the air. You could see the hair powder in his hair. You could see the shading. High def really picked up what the television makeup artists were doing.
Now, is that something you think that what makeup can't fool the audience, that CGI will assist in that?
No, I love CGI when it's done well. And today it's a combination of our makeup artist work and CGI. As I mentioned, children, if we do Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, I'm going to incorporate the green screen CGI so that you'll be able to see through a zombie. Have you ever seen Day of the Dead?
Right.
I remember Day of the Dead. There was a guy lying there, and all he was a brain, part of his skull in the brain. Imagine him walking around. Okay, that can only be done with CGI. But it would be a new, innovative zombie that you would see coming at you if that was coming at you. So I love when it's done well, and it really it's not going to put us out of work. I think it really helps us, because just like in Jurassic Park, they didn't get rid of the animators. The animators guided the computer guys on how to create and move the dinosaurs. It'll always be a makeup artist or a sculptor that will create the thing that is computer scanned and given life. So I adore it, actually. And that sounds strange coming from me, because when you watch a movie of my work or Rick Baker's or Dick Smith's, that stuff was happening right in front of you. The werewolf transformation in American Werewolf in London, that was happening right in front of you. There was no CGI enhancement, And us old-timers have to now pretend that something is happening when it's CGI. It's not really happening. And that's why there's this collective dislike of CGI, because we don't want to make that effort. We don't want to have to pretend. We want to see it happening right in front of us. But we're training generations that grow up to accept CGI as a tool used by movie makers. But there's the other side of the coin to that. Like, my grandson is 8 years old, and if he sees something that's impossible, oh, well, that's CGI. Which is a shame, because Greg Nicotero again did this wonderful makeup on this woman in Land of the Dead, where half her face was gone. People just thought that was CGI. It was just great.
And
makeup.
It was latex?
It was a real makeup. Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
That's a shame.
Because it looked impossible.
Now, I want to go back to the beginning of Mr. Savini's journey through his life here.
Just call me Tom. Don't make me
Tom.
feel
Okay. All right, Tom. How did you get started in the business?